Okay, so we've got all of our tracks imported and we're ready to start doing some actual sequencing work. The next thing that we need to do is we need to align the tempo grid of the track that we're doing and GarageBand. What do I mean by that? Well, if I turn on the metronome at the moment, which is this tool up here, which is the click that goes alongside, you will hear that they are completely out of sync. Okay, now if we were never going to use the metronome, just turn it off, then that wouldn't be a problem. But to really use some of the more advanced features of the sequencer, we're going to need to have them in time. So I need to show you how to do that. Now, I have already told you on karaoke version to choose a track that has a steady tempo. So let's go to karaoke version. Oh, school network, sorry. Okay. And if you go into East Side, which is the one that I've already downloaded. Okay, when you're on the page, you will see up at the top, it says same as the original tempo, 90 BPM. That's 90 beats per minute. And I have already told you to avoid using something which says variable. So hopefully your track will see, just like here, it'll have a nice steady tempo. You should also avoid using things which don't have whole numbers. Occasionally you'll see like 90.4. GarageBand doesn't deal very well with that, so you should avoid using that. But 90 is absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to go back into the GarageBand file, and up here it says tempo, and at the moment it's set to 120. Well, we've already been told that this track is 90, so I'm just going to type 90 over the top, and you can see the timing grid already moved around a little bit. But that's okay, nothing's changed because we hadn't done any inputting yet. If we'd already inputted loads of parts and then we'd changed it to 90, they would have moved and they would have gone out of sync. But what it's done is it's just adjusted to the audio parts. So that should now be in time. Oh no, there's still a problem. Okay, they're now going at exactly the same speed. The speeds are right, but they don't start at the same time. Listen. Okay, the click starts very slightly before the track, and that means that all of the other beats, all the way through the rest of the song, all the way up to the end, will all be out of time. That's because there's a little bit of silence on the tracks at the beginning of the recording. What we need to do is we need to cut off that silence so that the beats and the tempo line up exactly. So here's how I'm going to do that. Over here is the zoom tool. Now on GarageBand there is only one. On some digital audio workstations or sequencers like Logic Pro, for example, there are two where you can zoom in vertically as well as horizontally. But here we can just zoom in across. We can go in really far. Okay, we're not going to need to go in that way, but we're going to look right at the beginning. Okay, and if I zoom in, you will see that there is silence at the beginning. The first thing that happens in the track is here. Okay, you can see that through the waveform. This is actually where it would be really useful to have a vertical zoom in, because I could zoom in and show you, but I'm just using a bit of experience here. So what I need to do is I need to line up the playhead, that's this white line, with that starter. So I click along in the top here, and I can put it pretty much wherever I want, but I'm going to put it there. Okay, and now when I press, it should start straight away. Okay, so that is the right spot. That means that all of this silence here, that all needs to disappear. We're going to cut it out. And the way we're going to do that is we're again going to use the Select All tool. So I'm clicked in here. I'm going to hold Command A, Select All, and I'm going to use the Trim or the Cut feature. And to do that, I'm going to hold Command T, Cut. That has sliced off all of these, and now I can select them all and delete them all with the backspace key. Then what I can do is I can select them all again, and I can pull them back in again here, and then we are ready to go with what we're doing. Okay, so now they should be perfectly in sync. Okay, I could see that from the beats up here that we were right. Let's do it with the metronome.
When I was young,
brilliant. And that's going to mean that we can do quite a lot of things later that are going to enable us to work with the timing grid, and we can do some quite clever things later on. It is always worth checking the end of your song, because karaoke version are brilliant, but I might be wrong. They might have varied the tempo or something at the end, so it's worth checking that the very end of your song is still in time. Let's have a listen.
East side.
She used to meet me on the east side of the city where the sun don't set.
Okay, and they are still absolutely banging time, so that is right. That is how to align your track with the timing grid. We've done new work, so it's very important that we evidence this properly. So, what have we actually done? We've actually only made changes up here. Okay, so we can do a whole screenshot, Command-Shift-3. But what I probably would have actually done if this were my work is I would have done a small screenshot of me editing the beginning. Okay, now I can't go back and do that now, but what I could have done is, if it still had the original track, before I cut them off, it would have been really good if we'd zoomed right in. And Command-Shift-4 will mean that you get these little crosshairs, and you can just, in fact, let's get the tempo in as well. Command-Shift-4, okay, and you can say this is me cutting off the very beginning so that it was lining up with the timing grid. Let's do that now. We go to our Google Slides. Get rid of that. Okay, so where was our whole screenshot? There's our whole screenshot. Let's put that in. A bit smaller. Oh, got no text box. Okay, and right about what I did. I needed to make sure that the timing grid, that the timing grid, still can't spell, timing grid of the track lined up with GarageBand. Tempo of the original is 90 BPM. So I set the tempo to 90, but they still weren't lined up because there was a small amount of silence at the start of the recorded tracks. I zoomed in using the zoom tool and cut this silence out so that they now line up perfectly. Okay, this will mean that I can use more advanced features later. Okay, don't forget to do your evidence. It's so important.